Narratives rule the Web3 space, and to really stand out, build traction, and drive token price, your narrative needs to be sharp, clear, and robust. In this video, I'm going to show you a 5-step framework that you can use to curate your own brand narrative and capture the mindshare of the market. Your brand narrative is the story you want to tell the market about your product or service. And in Web3, it's no different. It's the vehicle that you can use to grab and retain the mindshare of the market. And it's much more than just a logo or a tagline. It's a truly emotional connection that sets you apart from the market. And it's extremely important in a market that changes its mind every 5 days. So whether you're a founder or a CMO, this video will help you craft narratives that will grab attention and keep the focus on you. Again, narratives are extremely important. Every year, we see multiple narratives pop up, gain the mindshare, token prices soar, projects go ballistic, and the ones that really create their own narratives and stick by them are the ones that last through the hype. As I mentioned, brand narrative is a story that is told to capture mindshare, engage the audience, and separate yourself from the market, and ultimately helps you carve your own lane. And again, it's a very big part of the reason that people will buy your token. Many will use it to humanize the brand, others will use it to show the indispensable nature of the product, and all will use it in the name of generating and maintaining the attention of the market. And I think it's key to note here that your product and your token should have their own narratives. Although closely related, your token is a product itself and should also have its own story to tell. As I mentioned, the Web3 space changes its mind a lot and is full of noise. And at times, it can be a match of who's screaming the loudest, who's spending the most on influencers, who's doing the most public relations stunts, and all of that jazz. But by spending time on crafting your narrative and honing your story to really cut through the noise, you save a lot of time and effort on other marketing activities. Now, before we jump any further, I would like to make a couple of distinctions. Generally, in the crypto space, there are two types of narratives. Brand narratives, which is what we'll cover here, where companies have their own story to tell, and market narratives, which are trends in technology or applications of said technology by which the audience speculates on through tokens. And this can be stuff like DePIN, AI. We had DeFi summer a few years ago. We had the NFT market craze. All of these were just people betting on an application or a certain sector of the market just because they thought there was a strong story there and nothing more than that. The reason that we want to focus on the brand narrative is because your brand narrative is yours and it should be connecting with your target audience and be a key factor in how you're differentiating yourself from the rest of the market and drive excitement for your product or token, not others in and around the same problem sphere as you. The last thing you want to be is another product or token bandwagoning of hot trends. So how do we create a brand narrative in Web3? Well, we use a framework at Jello that consists of 5 key elements. The hero, this is the main character of the brand story, and the one we want the narrative to connect with the most. The villain, the core problem the hero faces in their journey. The setting, which is the context of the market, the current solution set, and prevailing and wider market sentiments. The guide, in this case, it's your brand, guiding the hero to a happy ending. Interacting with the guide is the hero's point of inflection that sees him kind of overcome his problems. And the twist, the unique proposition or value add the guide brings to turn the story around and solve the problem. So, where do we begin? The hero. The single biggest mistake brands make when they craft their narrative happens right here. The hero is the audience, not your brand. Why? Well, your message needs to resonate with your audience. You need to show them that you understand and care about them, and they are, at the end of the day, the ones using your product or buying your token. Put the audience in the spotlight, make them feel heard. A relatable message cuts through the noise, and something lofty without backing will always be drowned out. Everyone is the hero of their own story, and this is especially true here. There will be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, hopefully using your product or engaging with your brand, and they all need to feel like you're doing this for them. And this applies to everything from developing a new ERC standard to creating a game on chain that gives people ownership of their assets. Once we've defined our hero, we can move on to the villain of the story. Now, the villain is the problem that is faced by the hero. It's not your competitor. Again, if we make it about the competitors, we're turning the focus on us as the brand, which we don't want to do. So the villain is always the problem that the hero faces that is blocking their path to success. And we should align these villains with three characteristics. One, it should be a root problem, not a feeling. Two, the villain should be singular. Even if there are multiple problems that you solve, our core overarching messaging should be focusing on only one, because otherwise it gets a little bit too chaotic. If you're really looking for a stretch and you really need to choose more than one, two is like the max. But other than that, we want to keep it, as tame and as narrow as we can to ensure that our message strikes really true. And it's the same thing as we talk about when it comes to general messaging, right? Speaking to everyone is the same as speaking to no one. You don't want a one-size-fits-all approach. And thirdly, the villain should be relatable to the audience. This is key to making it resonate. We can also break down the villain into three other segments. So these can be internal, external, or philosophical. So internal problems would be problems that are to do with personal belief. External problems are real world problems that they have to overcome. And philosophical problems are, questions that we ask about the problem, such as why should this problem even exist? Now, considering that we may have more than one villain, we should focus on the biggest one for the overarching story, and we can use the other ones for certain product messaging as well. But which one do we pick? Well, we can assess the settings of the story to figure that out. So, where does this story take place? The context of the story is key to a specific and sharp narrative. Without this, your brand narrative may end up being quite generic and thus will not connect deeply enough or cut through the noise. So, let's break down the setting into three key points: market context, current market narratives, and market solution sphere. What market does this take place in, and what are the main characteristics of that market? Are there any prevailing narratives or trends within the market at the moment? And are there any other competitors, and what do their solutions look like? When we understand where the story takes place and what the surroundings look like, it makes it a lot easier to understand the hero and the villain. But how does the hero overcome his problems? Introducing the guide. Your product or your project is the guide providing the solution. And in the story of the brand, you're providing the solution to help the hero overcome the villain. And you have two main goals. One, show empathy and understanding of the hero's problem, and show competency and authority in solving the problem. You should be giving the hero the plan and guidance on how to defeat the villain. Mapping out your product is an important aspect to understanding how we can guide the hero and ultimately help the hero feel that they can rely on us. And it is always great to map out your product to get a bird's eye view of everything going on, from features to the problems that they solve. And we've got a great guide that will help you do this. I'll link it in the description below. It's a product mapping sheet. You can use that in tandem with an audience mapping sheet that will also link below to basically help map out the problem sphere and the product and basically mesh them together. So you can get a great map of what the landscape looks like and how your product can help solve your target market solutions or your hero's your hero's problems and become the solution. But it begs the question, how do we ensure that we aren't given the same generic advice as other competitors? And this leads us on to the twist. This is the defining moment in your brand story. This is the secret sauce that we need to use to define your own narrative and carve out your own lane. Everything up until now has been the prologue. This is where you really put your own spin on things and carve out your message. Our unique brand twist is how we separate our guidance from others in the market. And this is what we really need to use to make our narrative compelling. We want to make sure we pick out the sharpest tool at our disposal. And, many projects have great features, new features, unique features, but it can be hard to put them all together. And projecting them all at once is very chaotic, and it makes the messaging a bit all over the place, which is not the goal here. We need to make it sharp and cut through the noise. So we should hone our blade with one problem, one or two unique features that will make our message a lot more clear. but it can be pretty hard to do so, you know? Sometimes you get stuck on which feature to pick. But I would say choose the one that helps you define your own category, the thing that's really unique. Bandwagoning on existing narratives or categories makes it hard to become the market leader and steal and maintain attention. Defining your own path is really crucial to showing that you are really truly building something new. And if you are defining your own path, not only do you become market leader, but it makes it a lot harder for people to take that mind share away from you. So the TLDR, what are we doing here? Well, the brand narrative is the story that your brand is trying to tell to the audience. Why are we doing it? To grab attention of the market and show that you are different from the rest, build conviction and retain attention. How are we doing it? Mapping out the story of your ideal user, the hero. Show them how you can guide them to a better future and fight their problems in a unique way. And once you have your brand narrative, there's one more thing to do. You need to place that into your content strategy and bring that message to life. Hopefully that was useful. If you're a Web3 brand looking to acquire new users and drive up token price organically, profitably, and sustainably, check out the first link in the description for a resource that will explain to you how you can piece this all together in a simple and easy to view way. And don't forget to also check out the audience mapping sheet and the product mapping sheets to make this whole process 10 times easier. And I'll see you in the next video.